Andy Chrisman of For Him has spent 40-plus years in Christian music, and chances are he knows your favorite artist personally. Now he's bringing you their stories.
I'm Andy Chrisman.
In his new podcast, 1 Degree of Andy, he sits down with the voices behind the songs for real, honest, and faith-filled conversations you won't hear anywhere else.
That's a great question.
If you love Christian music, this is your backstage pass.
The 1 Degree of Andy podcast.
Listen now to 1 Degree of Andy wherever you get your podcasts.
One of these men is a highly respected New York attorney, Lucas A. Ferrara. The other is a self-proclaimed man of the people, known as Mert Roberts. Their aim is to discuss the hottest issues impacting our city, state, and nation. Fasten your seatbelts. Shake It Off with Mert and Lucas, live, starts now on AM 970. The Answer.
The alphabet, it's a magical world to get. From A to Z, it's a symphony, let's explore it joyfully. The alphabet,
That is very funny, Alex. What's the name of that one?
Alright, this is called The Alphabet Song by Taffy Rhythm.
Alphabet song. Hey, Mert, you like soup? Mert, did we lose Mert? Alex?
No. I'm here.
I think he's in disbelief right now.
Help him out, Alex.
I can't.
Apparently, that question shocked
What is this?
him.
What is this? What is this? A pre-K? Like, what kind of songs are these? What is this?
Is that what shocked you? But
I was stunned. I thought I was listening to Blues Clues or something like that.
Hey,
what are we doing here?
They make a lot of money, so don't knock it. Do you like soup, Mert?
I'm not a soup guy. So
Yeah,
no,
neither am I. How about you, Alex? How about you?
I love soup. I mean, come on. Even in the summer, I might have a little soup, so.
Yeah, I'm not a soup guy. I'm like Mert, but a lot of politicians appear to be. They seem to like this crazy alphabet soup that's been making the news over the last few weeks. I'm sure you heard about it, Mert. So here's the background. It involved this lady up in Canada, Leah Gazan. She's a Canadian member of Parliament, and she represents Winnipeg Centre for the New Democratic Party up there. And she dropped a doozy when she was speaking out against Canada's 2026 budget cuts. She said, and I quote, get ready, Mert, they provided $0 to deal with the ongoing genocide of MMI, WG2S, LGBTQ, QIA+. Now, I hope I got that right. That's MMI, WG2S, LGBTQ, forget about it. It's too wacky. Now, rates of violence are increasing, Mert, and the Prime Minister is turning a blind eye. That's her claim. And then she rattled off that formula as smooth as silk. No notes, no hesitation. You could see her on video. It's like she had it memorized. But here's the problem. By the time she hit that plus, our brains have already checked out. What the heck does all that gobbledygook even mean? Well, how about this, Mert? Missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls, smashed together with two-spirit, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, intersex, asexual, and whatever the heck the rest of that gobbles up. It's pure letter salad, or the classic alphabet soup that's become the official language of Canadian politics and activist circles. Look, Mert, I'm not here to mock people for wanting precision or visibility. Words matter and shorthand can be handy, but this endless acronym crap, from plain old LGB back in the day when I was a youngster to these 17-letter tongue twisters, has a sneaky, dangerous side effect, and in my view, it just ends up desensitizing us. Don't you agree, bud?
Well, I'll say this. You got to understand that.
He's in shock again, Alex. I think he's in shock. It's his whole soup
He is
thing.
speechless tonight.
He's speechless, and all alphabet soup did it to him.
You've all become bullies. I mean, you sound like the type of guy. You sound like the type of guy who would spoil, Santa Claus for children.
Well,
Tell little kids that there is no Easter Bunny. spoil. You like to spoil things. Why are you going to spoil what these people have going? They are doing this stuff to make people believe that the government actually cares about these groups. They're doing it for the peace of mind of these missing indigenous children's families. This is why they do these things.
Yeah,
but you want to take that away.
No,
so you want to take it away.
It's not that I want to take it away, Mert. I want to address the science and the reality. I think there was a study from Ohio State, okay? This researcher by the name of Hillary Schulman, and she looked at how people reacted to specialized lingo, not just in politics, but in science as well. And she said you slap a bunch of jargon on something, and folks immediately feel, Mert, less interested, less capable of understanding, and less likely to engage. And this is what she said. The use of difficult, specialized words are a signal that tells people they don't belong. You can tell them what the term means, but it doesn't matter. They already feel like the message isn't for them. So I ain't warning nothing. These politicians just don't get it. Their words, their letters are just mush. How can you defend that, Mert?
Because I'm a human. I have a heart. I can see that, I can see deep down somewhere that you have one, so I'm not going to say you're a complete monster.
Oh, boy.
But I see that you've lost compassion because I understand why people do this. Oftentimes, all those letters, they get dismissed as weirdos, freaks, others.
If you can follow it, I understand people are victimized. I understand people are victimized.
They got all kind of names for those groups. So when they're recognized or they're lumped into one ball that people are using to recognize an entire community all at once, and you want to take that love and joy away from them individuals because you want it to be spelled out and labeled so that somebody like Mr. Ferrara can easily digest and understand it. Well, that's not how things go. It's not about you. It's not about you. It's about these groups.
It's not about me. They're right. That's why I told you about this Ohio State researcher who's saying that doing stuff like this doesn't work. In fact, it doesn't trigger compassion, Mert, which is what you said. It triggers compassion fatigue. Not because we've seen too much suffering, because we're not hearing anything in plain English.
Well, you know what people don't get tired of? People don't get tired of hurting others. It's very easy to make fun of people and hurt other people's feelings. People don't get tired of that. But people want to get tired of saying the right stuff. You know what? I'm not falling for it. And whoever that research guy is,
lady,
whoever that research person is, let them be on the other end of somebody making fun of them all the time or making them feel like they're inadequate or less than, and they'd want somebody to use pronouns and letters to address them to make them feel better. I'm shocked at you.
You're shocked. I happen to be in very good company. A lot of people
you're an artsy guy.
You're an artsy
guy. You're a very noble type of individual. I would think you would understand this type of stuff. I am very shocked at your stance and your position on this.
Alex, do you have that clip? I want Mert to hear it for himself because he should be ashamed of himself for defending this kind of baloney.
They provided $0 to deal with the ongoing genocide of MMIW G2S LGBTQIA+. This is abhorrent. This is callous.
You know what's abhorrent? That kind of talk. But that sounded like a science experiment.
No.
It sounded like a cake recipe.
You're getting it mixed up because
it sounded like AI in my view.
But. Yeah,
you gotta understand. Hold up, you gotta understand what she was doing right there. That long part, the MI, whatever she said, is the missing indigenous women. So that's a huge problem there. I remember this now. That's a huge problem there because I was confused. But then once I realized this is something that's specific.
Don't you diminish the plight of these missing indigenous women when you put them into a word salad like that?
No, this wasn't intended for the rest of this is intended for this community. See, this community know exactly what she's talking about, so it's just like slapping, USA on the end of it. They understand what
USA
those
is
initials
very clear.
mean.
That's United States of America. We all know what's that mean.
To that community, those initials are
supercalifragilistic
Can I jump in for a minute also?
expialidocious. It sounds like a Mary Poppins song.
I also feel like because there are so many moving into the LGBTQ movement, then everybody feels sort of outcasted from the movement, right? So if there's so many letters, then someone's going to say, well, we're not represented, or we're being represented less because this group, it's just so much.
Yeah, because I don't understand what the missing women have to do with gender identity and all this other kind of stuff. It just groups in a whole bunch of different concepts, Mert. It's garbage. It's gobbledygook. And you know what?
Because it's talking about...
You're in the minority.
It's talking about these communities of people who have been harassed, harmed,
but you diminish, You diminish their suffering when you group them
in your eyes.
Like that. That's
in your
my
eyes,
point.
they're diminished.
And in my ears,
but to a lot of people, they aren't diminished.
You know what? Elon Musk, he will be the richest man in the world when his new IPO sets off. I mean, they expect him to make like $1 trillion. Elon Musk said it was an implausible comedy routine. Then he said,
"What if
Canada
Elon
is cooked?" This is Elon Musk, okay?
What if Elon donated $1 billion?
The governor of Arkansas, she said, I think they're just adding letters to mess with us at this point, okay? And even a political...
That's a little cold. That's a little cold. But.
Look, you can keep giving examples. I don't care what Huckabee says. I don't care what Elon... What I want to know is, what would happen if Elon was to donate $1 billion to that cause? To help him find him.
Which one?
He would be a hero.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious one?
If he has $1 trillion, he could probably give $1 trillion to all the causes. Just start giving money away. Help out.
I will tell you, she's no Mary Poppins.
And call it a clown
show. Mary Poppins, okay? This was embarrassing, okay? And political commentator Link Lauren put it plain. I am begging you all to stop adding letters. This is absolutely ridiculous. And I agree.
She's just trying to go viral, that's all. She doesn't have anything going for herself. All she can do is criticize. Though that little initials, whatever it is, doesn't hurt anybody. Because I thought we were supposed to be smart enough to do our research and understand the context. The context is, in this area, that specific, those letters mean something in that area. Everybody knew what she was talking about.
I have a couple of them. All 16, 17 of them.
They knew all
a bunch of different things.
I looked at some of that. They said they knew what she was talking about. You just didn't know because it's not meant for you.
That's absurd. It's absurd. Look, ordinary people faced with a wall of letters default to nodding or tuning out. Okay, so look at the evidence, Mert. Her statement, that video, racked up millions of views in hours. Social media exploded with mockery. You know what one guy said? That's the VIN on my Altima. I thought that was hilarious. That's a vehicle VIN number. MW, thank you. Okay, it's absurd. It became a joke, Mert. So whatever she was trying to do, she was trying to bring attention to a serious issue.
And look who's talking about it. So she was successful in doing it because look who's talking about it.
Successful having her come off as a buffoon? You think that's
success? Because if you are going to sit here and say you don't have any care for missing indigenous children, then you are the buffoon.
I didn't say that.
But I'm saying...
I say grouping them into a word salad that has to do with gender identity and all this other kind of stuff. That does them a disservice.
It takes away from the meaning of actual missing.
No, because
Thank you, Alex.
That's not true. Because they probably weren't getting any attention. So this was a very calculated move, and it's worked. Because look who's talking about it. Big time.
What I'm talking about is her being a clown.
Talking about.
I'm talking about it because she came off as a clown, and these acronyms are not working. I think people.
You should go to Canada right now and apologize for this. That's what you should do. You should go to Canada and apologize for this because that woman has a good heart, and you're trying to make fun of her for using this word salad, as you put it. That's his words, not mine. You should go to Canada and apologize, and you should do your research and look into why she's using these acronyms, these long acronyms, because it's probably a serious problem that needs to be dealt with.
Good. And when it's a serious problem, talk about it in plain English, Mert. That's my point. I'm not trying to negate the problem. I'm trying to attack the use of word or letter salads. They make no sense. Thank you. The studio audience agrees. Look, you know what the problem is, Mert? If you can't recite that letter salad to the T, so to speak, it's almost like a loyalty test. You're some sort of hater because you didn't get the acronym right. Politicians get in trouble all the time because they miss a letter, or they miss the plus, or they miss an A. That's absurd. It's absurd. We shouldn't be judged because we don't know an acronym that's 17 letters long and sound like a bad cake recipe. It's absurd. You don't see the absurdity there?
Well, I do see the absurdity because we have standardized tests. We have all these loopholes people got to jump through all the time for different careers and different certificates and awards. So if the public is going to condemn a politician for missing out on the plus or whatever letter they're missing, then that's the public setting a standard that the politicians need to live up to. So if you can't live up to the standards and remember these things as a politician, then maybe you shouldn't be a politician. So you're not going to.
The problem is we can't, members of the public, we can't remember them either. And the problem is when then she's reciting that 17-letter stuff, I didn't have the slightest idea what she was talking about till I took the time to look it up.
To deal with the ongoing genocide of MMIW-G2S-LGBTQIA+.
That's a vehicle VIN.
You see, the key thing you said there is you looked it up. See,
I did it for the show, not for her, because I thought it was so absurd. Okay,
she made you do the research because you didn't know what she was talking about.
It's like background noise at a bad party. You get used to stuff like this, and you tune it out.
No, that cuts through.
Yeah, compassion.
That cuts through because
It does.
I've never heard that. I've never heard the MI, whatever. So that cut through. Like, I've heard LGBTQ before, but I've never heard that before.
Oh, please.
So it cut through. It was very effective.
You didn't hear it before tonight, did you? You didn't hear it before.
No, I have heard that. So I've heard it before, and that's how I knew it was about.
And you think it's
children,
okay?
'Cause I was like,
and you think it's okay?
Because I had to go do my research, so it is okay. It worked. I had to look up what is she talking about, and then I seen, it's specific to this region. They have a problem with the indigenous children.
Why can't she say it in plain English? Why do we all have to go to the library and research this stuff?
It's not working. It's not working.
No, it's not working. It's not working, period. The fix is simple, my friends, and it's all on us. Let's demand plain speech. Let's force politicians, journalists, advocates to use full sentences with ordinary words, Mert. We're funding programs to cut violence against indigenous women and girls. Simple. That invites questions. That invites challenges, like why is it being cut? Where's the data? Not this talk, this formula talk. We needed to treat every fresh acronym, Mert, like it's a red flag. What exactly are you hiding behind those letters? Because if we need a glossary, scrap it. And that's the problem. I'm not anti anyone. I'm pro clarity, pro actually helping people in caring. So in an information overload, the boldest resistance is insisting on language that communicates clearly. Anything less abandons the vulnerable. The letter salads and alphabet soups aren't protecting anyone, Mert. They're the shield for the servers of the salad. Time to send it back to the kitchen. And with that note, you are listening to Shake It Off with Mert and Lucas Live. We're truly honored to have you along with us for the ride. Would you believe this is episode 93? Come on, let's hear an amen. Amen. This is Lucas Ferrara. Wherever mindful, without you, we're nothing. In the studio, you heard from the great Mert Roberts, also affectionately known as the Mertinator. Working the board is our engineer, Alex Garrett. One Leg Up with Alex Garrett. He's got a podcast. Check it out. And also Ashley Ferrante's at Master Control. We love you, Ashley. We've got some great guests. Ray Zinn is coming up after the break. He's written a book called The Essential Leader. It's a blueprint for building principled, durable leadership. And then hour 2, Barry Marr is joining us. He's the author of The Great Dick. Wait till you hear about the origins of that book. So don't you dare drift. Don't blink. Shake it off with Mert and Alex. All of us here at AM 970 will turn after these messages. Zinn returns with the kind of leadership clarity that cuts through the noise, like these commercials.
A to Z, it's a symphony. Let's explore it joyfully. The alphabet, it's a magical world to get from A to Z.
Born on America's darkest day of 9/11, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation has been helping America's heroes ever since. Heroes like United States Army Specialist Anthony Vargas. After the terrorist attacks on 9/11, Anthony's patriotism and love for our country drove him to enlist in the Army. He served honorably and dreamed of one day serving in the NYPD. While on deployment, Anthony was killed instantly when an IED detonated near his unit. He left behind his beloved wife Louisa, their children, and his siblings. Tunnel to Towers honored his memory by paying off the Vargas family's mortgage, giving his family a stable forever home. Help more families like the Vargas family. Your donation today can make a world of difference, bringing hope and security to those who gave everything. Donate $11 a month. Go to t2t.org. That's T2T.org.
Over the last 30 years, Newman Ferrara, a New York City law firm, has evolved into a national practice focused on real estate, commercial, litigation, civil rights, class actions, and other complex litigation, representing many of the city's largest property owners, managing agents, and thousands of tenants. Newman Ferrara handles some of the nation's most significant class actions and civil rights matters. Newman Ferrara at 55 East 59th Street, New York City. Go online to newmanferrara.com. That's newmanferrara.com. Listen to the firm's name partner, Lucas Ferrara, every Saturday at 10 a.m. on Dottie Herman's longest-running real estate radio program, Eye on Real Estate on AM 970. A real estate lawyer for 35 years, Lucas is a professor at New York Law School and is also a published author with books on real estate and New York's landlord-tenant law. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to hear Lucas's unique perspective and advice on Eye on Real Estate.
We love bringing you products that improve your life. Well, this product can save your life. There are approximately 5,000 choking deaths in the U.S. each year. One child dies every 5 days from choking. Did you know older adults are at an increased risk of choking? Yes. And lodged food is the main cause. Ever pop small, bite-sized foods in your mouth like peanuts, grapes, or popcorn? Those foods that people eat by the handful can get overloaded in the mouth, which can cause a choking episode. LifeVac is a simple rescue device that can change a life in a choking emergency. It's non-invasive and easy to use, and one kit fits the whole family. If you have a young child in your family or a senior relative living alone, I strongly recommend you visit the LifeVac website today at lifevac.net. View the videos demonstrating its ease of use. LifeVac works in 3 simple steps: place, push, and pull. The LifeVac device dislodges the obstruction and suctions out the food or object. It's that simple. And it can be self-administered. Lifevac.net, made in the USA and FDA registered.
Hi, Kevin McCullough. If you travel a lot and you don't want to get stuck in a foreign hospital and you need to get home to a hospital at home just because you want to be there, travel insurance won't do that for you, but MedJet will. That's why I'm a member. And they're going to give away $2,026 in 2026 so that you can put a little money toward a dream trip and try them out. No purchase necessary to enter, but if you take a trip, you're going to want to get a MedJet membership. Go to thatkevinshow.com and click promotions to enter right now. Thatkevinshow.com. Click promotions.
As a local business owner, you get called every week by marketing companies. We get it. We have hundreds of satisfied customers. Here's what a satisfied client recently said.
Open enrollment is going great. We're hitting record numbers. Thank you so much for this report. It really is amazing to see how the marketing is really shaping our enrollment around the city.
If you're a local business and ready for the next step, Google Salem Surround New York right now. Our experts are ready to help you take your marketing to the next level. Google Salem Surround New York today.
Welcome back to Shake It Off with Mert and Lucas, live on AM 970, The Answer.
Now, what's the name of that tune, Alex?
This is called Leadership by Diamond Tune.
Well, if you're looking for a leader, have we got the guy for you? Ray Zinn is an inventor, entrepreneur, investor, and best-selling author, and he also happens to be the longest-serving CEO in Silicon Valley history. He founded McCrell back in 1978 and led it profitably through nearly every major downturn the chip industry ever threw at him. He's the mind behind the wafer stepper. He holds more than 20 patents, and his leadership philosophy has shaped generations of engineers and executives. His book, From Tough Things First to the Zen of Zinn series, distilled 4 decades of hard-won experience into clear, practical lessons. His latest book, The Essential Leader, zeroes in on what great leadership really requires: sound judgment, character, and a focus on people over profit. Amen. And through his Zinn Starter program, he's now helping college entrepreneurs around the country turn ideas into real companies. It's an honor to have him on the program. Welcome, Ray.
Hey, thank you, Lucas.
It's a pleasure, my friend. Now let's start off with the most obvious question, Ray. What's your definition of a good leader or of leadership in general? Help us out.
He develops a good culture within his organization. That's the key for being a good leader, is having a good culture.
So it's all about the people? Is that what you're saying, Ray?
Yes, it's educating them. You know, when I interview people to hire, I tell them, I'm not here to make you rich. That's your job. I'm here to help you become a better person, because better people make better employees. So that's the goal I have, is to help them become better people.
Wow. And how do you do that? With education, with mentoring? Can you tell us your secrets? Well, I mean, what is the formula?
It's both. It's both mentoring and educating. So we had a meeting every Friday at 1:30 where the leadership of the company met, and we discussed with each department, you know, what their issues were and how they were improving or how they're solving their problems. And then we ended with a motivational speech or talk that lasted about 5 to 10 minutes. And everybody got a turn at teaching that motivational class. So that's kind of how we did it. And then they take that information back to their department and then educate their department based on what they learned at that leadership meeting that we held on Friday.
Now, Ray, let me ask you your opinion. Do you think micromanaging is a good thing or is it a bad thing?
Okay, so it has both a negative and a positive connotation. So if you're just standing over their heads, beating on them, trying to pressure them into doing what they're expected to do, that's micromanaging. But if you're managing the small things, not letting them become big things, that's micro being small, that's good. So if you're taking care of the small things, they won't become big things if you handle them without procrastinating.
Now, Ray, my co-host Mert's going to love this, but you apparently are not a big fan of profanity in the workplace, which I thought was very interesting. Because Mert tends to be somewhat profane. Don't you think, Alex? I mean, between the commercials, he's got, oh my God, he's like a trucker.
Yeah, no, he's got a mouth of a sailor.
He's got a mouth, boy. We need to use soap to calm him down, right? But what is the issue with profanity?
You have to shake it off.
Oh, that's very good. Let me ask a question.
Yeah. Oh, it's the Murdinator. Watch it, Ray. Watch it, Ray. It's the Murdinator.
And listen, you don't have to answer any questions you don't want to answer. So I'm giving you that out now because I'm interested in somebody who's managed people, somebody who's been a leader, and especially in the tech industry. What do you think the reason is we go overseas to get a lot of these engineers and these gifted people in this industry, and a lot of Americans are left out in the cold or can't get a job? and have to go into other fields, and they essentially have went to college and wasted their years getting a degree they can't even use because we go get these people from overseas. What is your stance on that? Because I don't usually get to talk to somebody who's been in Silicon Valley and has all these great achievements. So having somebody on the phone, I'm taking this opportunity because I really am interested in that.
Okay, so the key is, I look at the employees that left my company. We did an interview, what we call an exit interview, and we found out that 75% of the reason that employees leave is because they don't like their boss. And so we developed a culture of people wanting to stay. They like their boss, and so I think the big problem we're having in our country right now is there's too many people that don't like the United States. They don't like the culture of the country, and so they're just not good employees. So the foreigners are very appreciative of being here. And they work their tail off. Okay, trying to get these spoiled brats that work for you to work their tail off when they don't like your company or they don't like you is the issue. So one of the main cultures of our company is respect for every individual. Everybody treated everyone with respect. That's why we didn't allow any swearing or vulgar language, is because we wanted them to enjoy where they work, and it's kind of hard to preach that, and so it has to be something they want to do. And so,
I'm glad
the best preach.
I'm glad you
Pardon?
said that because I understand exactly what you're talking about. Because it's very hard to tell this generation, the generation I'm a part of, so I can see it. It's very hard to tell us how we should act, because we think we should have the freedom to act any kind of way that we like. But there is there's a huge, and I believe in a lot of what you're saying, there is a huge benefit to having a way that you conduct yourself in the office that makes everybody comfortable, because you don't have to worry about certain things becoming an issue. So I understand exactly what you're saying, and I'm glad that you put it that way, because I think a lot of people are afraid to say that American workers sometimes don't appreciate the structure and the boundaries that a office can provide, because they want to try to push their boundaries or their limits onto you, and it makes for an uncomfortable office sometimes. So I'm glad that you put it that way, because I think that I agree a lot with what you're saying.
Well, think about this. Most foreigners don't understand foul language. They may have foul language in their own language, but they don't know our vulgarity as you would. And so I have hired hundreds of non-U.S. employees, and they just come not swearing. They're not vulgar by definition, and so that just makes it a better place to work if people are not swearing or cursing or yelling at each other. It just seems like to me that the foreigners are just more respectful.
Right, and I definitely see that, because they want to fit in instead of being an individual. And do you feel like trying to be an individual can sometimes hurt productivity because you're not contributing to the main, you're trying to contribute to yourself?
Well, that's selfishness, right? And selfishness is born out of anger and hatred and distrust. And so
Right.
If you don't have that trust and that loving attitude toward your fellow worker, then you don't belong at our company. So we just encourage people to be nice to each other. And when you have that atmosphere where people are respectful, then productivity increases. And employees that are self-centered and selfish and focused on themselves, they won't last long at our company.
Ray, we have to take a break, and I want you to think about this during the commercials. But do you think we have to worry about the future of our country? Because I personally don't see attitudes shifting for the better. I think anti-American sentiment is getting worse. So think about that. But Ray will rejoin us right after these breaks, these messages. Mert, Alex, and I hope you'll stay right where you are right after the break. Ray Zinn is back with the hard-earned insight of a CEO who led through every major cycle and came out stronger each and every time. Don't go away. He's going to share his secrets.
Over the last 30 years, Newman Ferrara, a New York City law firm, has evolved into a national practice focused on real estate, commercial, litigation, civil rights, class actions, and other complex litigation, representing many of the city's largest property owners, managing agents, and thousands of tenants. Newman Ferrara handles some of the nation's most significant class actions and civil rights matters. Newman Ferrara at 55 East 59th Street, New York City. Go online to newmanferrara.com. That's newmanferrara.com. Listen to the firm's name partner, Lucas Ferrara, every Saturday at 10 a.m. on Dottie Herman's longest-running real estate radio program, Eye on Real Estate on AM 970. A real estate lawyer for 35 years, Lucas is a professor at New York Law School and is also a published author with books on real estate and New York's landlord-tenant law. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to hear Lucas's unique perspective and advice on Eye on Real Estate. Whether you're in the market for a Toyota truck for your fleet, business, or personal use, the one thing you're really looking for is the real deal. Enter ToyotaTRD.com, an online resource where you can get down to the real deal on upfitting a Tacoma and Tundra for the trades, a fleet, or any business. Get the real deal on Land Cruiser, 4Runner, Sequoia to power your non-work life on or off the road. At ToyotaTRD.com, business owners and fleet managers find the solution for all their commercial or work truck needs. ToyotaTRD.com shares your specs with dealerships that are able to have your truck set up a test drive or schedule delivery. Whether you work hard or play harder, you could accessorize any Toyota truck to fit your lifestyle at ToyotaTRD.com. Call 844-TRD-TOYOTA and use the promo code Joe to receive additional savings. That's 844-TRD-TOYOTA, promo code Joe to save with ToyotaTRD.com. Unity Bank is dedicated to community-oriented banking and offers a full range of services including business and personal accounts, business loans, and mortgages. Unity has locations throughout New Jersey and in Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania, expanding its footprint to 21 retail locations. Grow your savings with their great CD specials. Visit unitybank.com to find out more. Unity Bank is also a great place to work. As Unity Bank President and CEO James Hughes says, the people make Unity Bank a great place to work. We give our employees an opportunity to grow. At Unity Bank, there are no excess layers of bureaucracy as found at Goliath-sized banks. All employees have full access to management with encouragement to make decisions and grow their careers. Visit unitybank.com. That's unitybank.com for current CD and savings specials. They are FDIC insured, an equal opportunity employer, and an equal housing lender. Unity Bank, growing with you. What does the perfect celebration look like? Great weather, great company, and unforgettable views. Just imagine your birthday, anniversary, or company party set against the iconic New York City skyline. Sound too good to be true? It's not. When the weather warms up, there's no better place to celebrate than on board the Atlantis Yacht from New York Cruises. From intimate gatherings to full-scale corporate events, Atlantis Yacht is a premier floating venue offering a truly unique experience. Their dedicated team of hospitality professionals will help plan every detail so you can relax and enjoy the moment. Your guests will be wined and dined across the main deck, sky deck, and lounge deck, all featuring breathtaking 360-degree views of the Manhattan skyline. Birthdays, anniversaries, engagements, company parties, reunions, retirement celebrations. If there's a reason to celebrate, Atlantis Yacht is the place to do it. Call 212-633-1231 to book your unforgettable event today or visit NewYorkCruises.com.
Welcome back to Shake It Off with Mert and Lucas, live
on AM 970. The Answer.
Ray Zinn is an inventor, entrepreneur, and the longest-serving CEO in Silicon Valley, best known for founding Micrel and leading it properly through nearly every major cycle in the semiconductor industry. His latest book, The Essential Leader, distills more than 4 decades of experience into a clear, character-driven roadmap for building disciplined, people-first organizations. Ray's leadership philosophy, from Tough Things First to the Zen of Zinn series, has influenced generations of engineers, executives, and founders. To learn more about Ray and his books, visit toughthingsfirst.com. That's toughthingsfirst.com. You'll also find his latest book, The Essential Leader, on Amazon or wherever books are sold. And Ray will also have links posted on our website, shakeitofflive.com. So, Ray, before we took a break, I asked you if you were concerned about the future, given that the sentiment has become, particularly with young people, more anti-American, or at least that's my view.
I agree. And what do I think of the future? I think the future is still good, but we have to turn around this anti-team or anti-U.S. Mentality. You know, the way a team is that you pull together. We're just not pulling together, and it's going to take some real changes in this country if we're going to pull together and strengthen this beautiful country that we have. So I think it starts with, as you said in your lead on, is learning how to be a good leader. And I talk about that in my book, The Essential Leader. You have to take it down to a personal level. You really have to not be condescending to other people. If my mother says, as you know, if you haven't got something good to say, don't say it at all. And so we unfortunately are saying too many bad things about each other, and we got to stop that right now.
Amen. Amen.
Lucas, you know how we always talk to people who are, either AI experts or they cover it. I want to ask Ray, what do you think about AI and how it's going to affect how employees do their jobs?
Yeah, it's a great question.
It might be the elimination of some jobs. What do you think the technological revolution in terms of AI, how is it going to lead to employees' behavior, or how is it going to affect employees' behavior in other aspects maybe I'm not even thinking of, but you could shed some light on?
Well, AI, as you would artificial intelligence, you could even trace back to Adam Smith, Wealth of Nations, because the locomotive put a lot of people out of work. Stagecoach drivers, Pony Express drivers, and improving the workspace, as Adam Smith talks about in his book Wealth of Nations, is that separation of labor, and so that is at the heart of AI. It's an acronym. It's not. It really doesn't mean artificial intelligence, because it's just a way of saying that we're going to use computerization more than we have in the past. Even though I have a hard time believing that, I remember when I was back in 1971, we developed a single chip calculator. It was a little handheld thing about the size of a baseball glove, and compared that to the old mechanical ones that they called the Marchands, clickety ones. This was a real revolution. We thought that was going to be an upending for a lot of people, because you could do so many calculations so much quicker. So advancement technology is going to be with us forever, and you're not going to stop it, whether it be robotics, whether it be being able to self-drive, which is like robotics, or whether you're going to do accounting using AI, or even medical using AI. We use the tools that we have. We're no longer using a hacksaw and a hammer. We now we have CNC machines that can do that. And so, if you think about all the people that are craftsmen that were put out of work when we did those CNC machines, you'd say the same thing. So if you've been down an automobile assembly line, you know that all those welds and everything are done robotically, and that's been with us long before AI. So don't get shook up. I mean, if you were a welder and now you've been taken over by a welding robot, you got to go find something else to do. It's called Who Moved the Cheese.
Now let me ask you one final question before Lucas. Let me ask this before you end with them. Let me ask you this: do you feel like any employee can be taught to be a good manager, like can lead? Do you think it's inherent, or can you be taught it? What's your position on that? Because if we get your book, maybe we want to be managers like you, big time managers, successful. Is it something that you really feel can be taught, or is it inherent?
Are you born with that skill? I think that's a great question, Mert.
Well, we talk about natural athletes, okay? A natural athlete is someone who doesn't have to work very hard. But other ones, like Jerry Rice, he had to work his tail off to become a good athlete. So, yes, it can be learned. Are there people who are natural-born leaders? Sure, no question. We know them. But Abraham Lincoln, I thought was a natural leader, and he was a lawyer. Not a natural leader. I'm saying he was a lawyer, not a natural leader. Let me back off on that. And he had to learn how to be a good leader. And so you have to respect people around you. You have to respect mentors. You have to seek mentors. And so if you want to be the best there is, find somebody who's better than you are and learn from them.
And it takes work. That's the key, does it not, Ray?
Yeah, success is spelled W-O-R-K. That's how you spell success.
Amen. I'm going to steal that line because I absolutely agree. Let me ask you, Ray, I was talking to a CEO who I won't name, another CEO, and he said to me that at his company, they like to purge employees every couple of years. He goes, because people that get too accustomed to their jobs, those people that stay long term, they were viewed as a detriment because they tend to slack off or start not thinking about the company favorably or not truly pitching in. So is there something to be said about people who remain long term not being as productive overall as opposed to someone who's just entering?
Well, Jack Smith, who was the CEO of GE, his goal as a CEO wanted to make his company interesting. He would paint the walls every couple of months. He would change the color on the walls. He would do anything he could to make it interesting. So if your employees are growing tired of what they're doing, it's because you're not making their job interesting. We'll all become bored and disinterested if we don't see change. And so, change is what we need. And if it means changing the color of the walls of your building, if it means changing up the way the employees do their job. So often what we would do, not often, but sometimes we would move them around. We would give them a different job. As long as it was something in their purview, we would give them a job to do. We wanted to keep people interested. If you're not interested in your job, then you're not going to succeed. As they say, if you love your job, you don't work a day in your life. And so, we want people to love what they do. And that means the good leaders, the good CEOs are keeping their employee jobs interesting.
Engagement. I love it, Ray. Our producer engineer, Alex Garrett, has been patiently waiting to ask you a question. Go ahead, Alex.
All right, well, I've been here 12 and a half years. I don't think I'm slacking anytime soon. But I have to ask you this, Ray.
I don't know about that. Anyway,
entrepreneurship. I feel like we've lost the entrepreneur spirit in America. How do we get that back, or is it coming back?
Well, entrepreneurship begins with passion. If you don't have passion, again, you're going to become disinterested. You're going to lose your interest in what you're doing. And so staying passionate is a never-ending 24-hour, 7-day-a-week thing. So, if you're not passionate about your spouse, you're going to have a divorce. If you're not passionate about your children, you're going to lose them. If you're not passionate about your company, you're going to lose it. So, you have to be passionate, and you have to show that passion through 4-letter words, L-O-V-E. L-O-V-E, love. That's the key to having passion, is love.
Mert, did you have a follow-up?
Well, wait a minute. Let me ask you. I definitely have another question. Let me ask you this: if I have a bad boss, what am I to do? if I have a boss where I'm like, man, this guy just ain't cutting it, what am I to do? Because I'm hearing it from one side, but what about the employees? Isn't it sometimes the employees don't have the best work ethic, or they might not be the best employees because maybe the management doesn't connect well with the employees?
Well, that happens, and it's a two-way street. If your boss doesn't love you, love your boss. So it'll be catching. I heard the story told about this couple that came into town because they were changing jobs and they wanted to know what the town was like. And so the mayor said, "Well, go talk to this old gentleman down the street." So they went down and talked to the old gentleman, and the old gentleman asked them, "Well, how did you like your previous job? How did you like your boss? How did you like your neighbor? How did you like your country?" And they said, "Oh, it was a terrible. My boss was lousy. I hated that guy. I couldn't wait to get out of there." And then the old man says, "Well, you'll find the same thing here in our town. You'll find that same thing, because you're going to find that hatred that you found in your other job or city." So another family came into town.
Right.
Same thing, looking for a new spot. And then the old man said, "Well, how'd you like your job? How'd you like your boss?" They said, "Oh, we loved it. We loved our neighbors. Well, we hated to leave." And the old man said, "You'll find the same thing here in our town."
Oh, interesting. It's a matter of perspective, one's perspective. Interesting.
I don't hire people. If you say you didn't like your boss, I won't hire you.
Ooh, Mert, you just disqualified yourself.
Ooh. Well, one final question. Would you say you're a patient man? You don't sound like, no offense, but you don't sound like you have any tolerance for any nonsense. You sound like a no-nonsense type of guy. So do you have patience for somebody who might start off a little bit as a bad employee, but over time might have potential?
I think he's talking about himself, Ray. Let's fire him. Let's just fire him.
Okay. So let's love him. Let's love him. Let's define patience for him. Let's help him understand patience. And patience is enduring without complaining. Enduring without complaining. So, do I have patience? Yes. Because I endure. I've been through many cycles of downturns, and I didn't complain. I look at those as opportunities. I make lemonade out of lemons. That's what I do.
Amen.
If I don't like my boss, I'll love him till he likes me.
I love it. A little work, Mert. You have to do a little work. Start showing the love. Maybe I'll love you back. But I don't know. What do you think?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Show the love.
I need love. That's all I need. I need love. That's
Ray, we only have a couple of minutes left. Why should people buy the book? Tell us what's in it for them. The Essential Leader, which is available on Amazon.
Well, I write books not to make a lot of money. That's not my goal. My goal is to help people. And so when I wrote that book, I said, what do I need to say to help people? What do I need to convey to them that will let them become better at what they're doing? That's been my goal in all 6 of my books. That's the goal, was to help people become better people. If you have a chance, pull out my book. Tell me what you think. Let me know your thoughts and feelings of it. And if you don't like what I say, I'll buy the book back from you.
Wow. Well, to learn more about Ray and his books, visit toughthingsfirst.com. It's a great website. And you'll find his latest book, The Essential Leader, on Amazon or wherever books are sold. And we'll also have links posted on our website, shakeitofflive.com. Ray, that's it for the segment. But thank you so much for coming on. We had fun. We hope you did as well.
Well, I did, and I thank you for inviting me.
Bless you. Next up, Barry Marr joins us. He's the author of The Great Dick, a supernatural thriller that twists humor and horror into the tale of one man's unraveling under a force he can't control. Ooh. But first we need to take a break, so it's imperative you come back after the news at the top of the hour, suffer through a few commercial messages, but once that's all done, Mert, Alex, and I, along with the rest of the AM 970 team, including Ashley Ferranti, back in Master Control, drill. We'll be waiting right here for you. We know you want it. We know you want to shake it off with us. We know you do. So please come back for hour 2. Shake it off with Mert and Lucas live. Don't go far. After the break, Barry Marr joins us and his supernatural thriller, That Great Dick Teaches Us Anything. It's the real danger isn't what's lurking in the dark. It what follows you home.
The preceding hour of programming, sponsored by Shake It Off Live, LLC.
Andy Chrisman of For Him has spent 40-plus years in Christian music, and chances are he knows your favorite artist personally. Now he's bringing you their stories.
I'm Andy Chrisman.
In his new podcast, 1 Degree of Andy, he sits down with the voices behind the songs for real, honest, and faith-filled conversations you won't hear anywhere else.
That's a great question.
If you love Christian music, this is your backstage pass.
The 1 Degree of Andy podcast.
Listen now to 1 Degree of Andy wherever you get your podcasts.